Welcome in. It is day 216, and you're speaking to the Meeples Champion. And today we're going to be going over a game that I've played only once before. It was one of the newer games I tried out this year with my friends, and it was a fun game. It had kind of grabbed my attention visually as far as the box goes, but it had never gotten me enough attention to actually go and try it. So when I finally got to play it, I was really excited. The game is Tiny Towns. Now, the concept of the game is that everybody gets their own player mat, and you're going to have a bunch of cards that are up top that represent different types of buildings. And every turn, you're randomly going to get a resource. Everybody gets the same resource, but you get to pick where you want to put it on your individual mats. As you're doing this, the resources will eventually line up and create one of the things that are up top. When somebody does that, they claim the card, they put out the building onto one of the spots that were in that resource area, and all those resources are given away. You're going to keep playing it this way. And eventually, you're going to get to a point where, one by one, players get to the point that their map basically can no longer fill up. You have all your spots filled. There's no way that you can make a building from the ones that you have out, and there's no way to add more resources. And when that happens, you finish, you remove all the resources, you count up the points for your buildings, and then you lose a point for every spot that didn't have a building in it due to the fact that it was a resource covered spot. Once all the players are done, now you compare scores and you see who won. It's a really simple game, but it's so much fun. I think it plays fine for 2, but it's so good to get 3, 4 players in this. I believe it goes up to 5. It actually goes up to 6. So I'm excited to try this at a higher count because I've played it at 4, I believe. Maybe 5, but definitely 4. It was a fun game, but why don't we jump in, talk about our 7 categories, and see where this game lands for us. When it comes to that art, like I said, the reason I was interested in the game was the art. This box is beautiful, and the inside is just as nice. It's definitely the kind of art that both during game and in a store grabs your attention and makes you want to see it. Thumbs up. Your resources. So you have nice player boards. Your cards are really good card quality. Your resources are all little wooden blocks, which some people don't like that. I'm fine with it. As long as it's a consistent resource. Sometimes you get these things that are supposed to look like wood, and they do, but they're just so tiny and it's annoying to pick them up. I really like the way they did the resources in this game, and the buildings are really good too. It's a thumbs up. Your price. This comes in at about $40. You'll find it in a Barnes & Noble. You may see it in Target, and you're definitely seeing it in 3 out of 5 board game stores. It's, for me, the reason I saw it was PAX East. It always pops up at PAX East for me, and it's one of those games that every year I consider it, and every year I just kind of say no. This might be the first year I decide to finally give in and grab it, because I really did like the game. I think that for the price that you're paying and the game that you're getting, if you're looking at this game in the rough area of about $40, which is what I think it's worth, that's a good price for this game. Got to be a thumbs up. Difficulty. So this almost feels like a Tetris game, but with actual game there. You know, you're trying to figure out these shapes and maneuver them within your village, trying to figure out how to get the right setup to grab a building from up top to be able to make that building. And I really like that concept. I think that there's plenty of there for an experienced player. I think even an expert can appreciate a night of playing Tiny Towns, but you have beginners and you have kids who will greatly enjoy this game. It's got to be a thumbs up. Replayability. I mean, the game can be played back to back. I don't think there's any issue with doing that because you're going to randomly put those cards up top. You're going to get a completely new set the next round. So if you play this back to back, it is a little different. You're trying to make all new buildings with all new point values. And I think this is a game that you could easily pull out. I wouldn't say too often. Maybe with a game group, it's not going to be more than like 3 or 4 times a year. But with family and with your non-game group friends, I think this is easily one you could get to the table once a month. So thumbs up. Keys to victory. So the keys to victory is about the combination of what buildings are you aiming for, how are you designing your mat, What are your opponents doing? Keeping track of like, okay, this building's hard to make, but nobody seems to have 3 resources next to each other that are going to be for this. So maybe I can do that and try to get a little bit of a heads up, because now when things start to come out for it, I'll be prepped. But you also have to be aware you might overcommit, and you're trying to get 5 resources for a building. You only got to 4, and now you've taken up space with some stuff that just won't fit, and you end up running out of time. So there's a lot of keys to victory here. Thumbs up. Unique. I think the way they do this is actually pretty cool. I've seen many games about having your own player mat, adding buildings to the player mat, unique cards up top to get stuff to the player mat. But this idea, almost like a flip and right, of something comes out and everybody gets that one resource and you decide where it goes. I think that piece makes this a very unique game. To me, when I played it, I couldn't help but notice just how I felt like I was playing through a flip and right style. And then all of a sudden it was running into a normal build your town game. And that combo was so interesting. So I have to give it a big thumbs up. Overall, what do I think? This isn't a must own. It's not even a must play, but it's a recommended. I think that I recommend to all of my viewers out there, if you have a chance, try it. It may not hit for you, and that's fine. It's not a game that's going to be the best game in your collection. It's not a game that's going to be your most played in your collection, but it might be a game that hits for you, your friends, your family. It could be for some of you out there a game that ends up being one of those games that's just dependable. And dependability is a cornerstone to a good collection. A game that you know, I can rely on these 10. These 10 games are going to hit with most people. So I always grab a few of them when I do a game night or when I go to a family retreat, because I know I have a chance of getting it to the table. Well, it has been day 216, and we've been speaking about the game Tiny Towns. And you've been speaking to the Meeples Champion. Like, share, subscribe, and check down below in the description where I'll be adding an Amazon link in case you want to get this game for your collection. Until next time, I'll talk to you tomorrow.